Hello, good afternoon. Today we are going to see how 21st century skill helps the younger generations to cope with. So we are also, as a tutor, we must look at how ICT can be incorporated in our daily teaching learning plan, so that the younger generation people can easily understand. So uh, this lesson is all about 21st century skills, and the we are going to talk about what is 21st century skill and how 21st century skills really incorporate ICT tools. All right, let's begin with. In order to begin, I always begin with recollecting the previous lessons. Let's look at what are the tools that we used. If you look at on the screen now, you'll see the first one is a Camtasia offline software used for preparing a lecture video that we have already practiced, and probably you'll further prepare a very beautiful presentation using this Camtasia. So Camtasia is an offline tool. It can be used anytime, anywhere without using internet. Next, online tools. I have used two. One is a Padlet that you have written on the wall and pasted your opinions. Actually, I made you to form a group, select the topic. However, there are things needed to be refined. I have still kept on the VLE. You can cross check. I have also used the brain teasers. Brain teasers is actually to provoke the minds of students, because sleeping minds, uh, if you begin all of a sudden a lessons, no, you will not be, students will not be able to understand what you are talking about. So in order to open the everyone's mind, we use the brain teasers in the beginning, in the middle, and even at the towards the end of the lessons. All right, let's look at next is 21st century learning society. Look at these pictures. What it tells you about how the people are being connected and how their brains are linked to the machine, from the machine to the people, people to machines. You look at the varieties of machines that people use in 21st century. So these are the different sources of information exchanging, and also communicating, and also there is no people are being left out. So this is also called collaborations. Collaboration, communications, sharing informations, and working together is looks 21st century skill. So let's talk about what are the different components of 21st century skills. The basic 21st century skills are critical thinking. People must have a critical thinking to exist on, live on 21st century. People must be very aware of this media literacy, because today you see everything is being expressed in the media, and people understand and then accept or reject or debate about the certain issues. So this is done all through using a media. Therefore, media can be printed media, can be internet media. So any media that you use for communications, SMS, we use SMS, Facebook, Twitters, etc. Now, next is whenever you are using a media, you must communicate. So communication is very important, because people need to communicate well. Then only people understand it. Therefore, 21st century skill, one of the important skill is communication. Now, when we saw a previous picture, we saw many people join together. So every people must work together. Every people must join to each other. To work together is called collaboration. So in collaboration, they try to form a new knowledge and new ideas. Therefore, people cannot remain in isolation in 21st century. Therefore, this collaboration is so important for 21st century skill. Information literacy. When the world is filled of a lot of informations which we are aware, unaware, and things are coming day by day and it's got filled everywhere. Therefore, If we still remain ignorant of those informations, we'll be really left behind. Therefore, for to be in 21st century skill, we need to be kept abreast with the information. Not only that, now by knowing, by collaborating, by knowing communications, by exchanging message by media, and you know how to think about it. Now you must need to innovate, discover something new, and that will lead to a better life. Therefore, these are the different tools used in 21st century skill. All right. Now, very important thing is that we must understand what is 21st century skills, what are the 21st century skills, and how to teach in 21st century skill. All right, and to understand that, acquiring isolated knowledge and skills will not be enough to face the challenge of the 21st century. This is true because you cannot be always all alone standing facing the challenges of 21st century skill. You need to work together, you need to decide together, you need to create a new knowledge together to face these different challenges in the 21st century. Therefore, such skills are really required for 21st century. Student must be equipped with the 21st century skills. When I said the skill, I already talked about those different basic tools. Those are required to lead a very happy life. Now, in reality, in 21st century skills, there are three areas that need to be very well understood: foundation literacy, and we also see the competencies of an individual and character qualities. In the foundational literacies, there are like literacy of new literacy, media literacy, information literacy, maths literacy, scientific literacy, financial literacy, and cultural literacy, civic literacy, and likewise numeracy. So these are some of the basic information that they need to keep abreast with. Well, in the competencies, people need to develop their critical thinking, provoke their mind, use the brain, keep on debating on a topic, think about pros and cons, not straight away accept what you are given. You always think about what is next, how to make it a better. That is a creativity, and you need to have a perfect communications, which is very important. And final one is, these all things to happen, you need to have a good collaborations, work together. Many people need to bring their good brains and formed and combined to form a beautiful new knowledge that are useful to the communities, to the society, and the world at large. The character qualities: a student who approaches this challenge in the environment must need to understand this. They must be always curious to learn about it, take initiative, be persistent or the great. Adaptability, they need to adapt. They should not be always complaining about it, rather they should be able to adapt and make it a better. They should become a better leader, lead the groove, not become a nuisance to the community and then always the problem creator. The social and cultural awareness must be known to the students. So these are all 21st century skills. However, I talked already about the basic skills that is required, and those are all foundational literacies. In the 21st centuries, we also use the technologies, particularly to the tools, the ICT tools, both for information literacy, in order to develop good skills to live in the 21st century world. We need to have a digital citizenship, understand the the different ways how do we make our own life easy. So we need to change our way of thinking, way of working, and way of using our different ICT tools. So the typical roles of ICT in higher education, if you look at that, we can use ICT tools in the research, generating informations, and management. it is not only just for teaching and learning, it can be also generating information. So any researches that we carried out in the higher educations, in the colleges, we can use different tools to ease our tasks. We also need to collaborate, not only that one individual's working throughout, this becomes too isolated and it gets extinct. Therefore we need to work together to form better knowledge, stronger knowledge for the society, and it's also useful knowledge. So such can be uh, work together from a different places and at any time. So when we say a collaborations, not necessary that we need to be together. We can be far up places, but still we can work on the same task. Constructive. Construct interactive web resources and digital tool. Today the world is changing. We cannot depend on those hard copies of the textbook. By reading those hard copies of textbook is just a mugging up. There is no way that we get interactions with the books and get practice to understand what is right, what is wrong. So today digital copy helps us to practice and understand both the theories, and also we can give a rigorous practice. So interactive web resources are very very important for 21st century. um, then also ICT in higher educations is a true means for communication. You look at that, communications is one of the means that we share and presents our understanding and get to understand others. So the communication skill is so important. So finally, we also need to know how to share the resources amongst each other. As we said, collaborations. People are there at a longer distance, but how do you share resources at instant? And how do you get resources from others at an instant? So this is why we need to know all those different types of ICT tools that help us to do all these five basic things. All right. The ways of thinking, some of the thinkings that we need to divert ourselves from our old traditional thinking is that the the reasons effectively, the ways of our thinkings, they will have an ability to reason effectively and critically as appropriate to the situations to overcome a complex problem based on analyzed and evaluated evidence. By the way, here they means is in students where they should be. So if they are quite aware of the 21st century skill, they should be able to change themselves to they should not believe anything that comes on the way, but they should be able to critically analyze and finally evaluate, and with evidence argue, claim, and beliefs. So they need to change their perceptions according to the informations they analyzed and evaluated. And also such kind of they will also demonstrate originality and inventiveness in the work and explore alternative in adopting new ideas. So here basically it talks about how people's our mindsets are changing in the 21st century skills. This has been quite, we have already talked about, and even here we also say about how the ability articulate their thoughts and ideas, which is these actually at a higher order. So we must practice these kind of things at college level. Now these are some of the at the digital literacy, at the age of digital literacy, what we use is functional literacy, technology literacy, information literacy. So when we talk about these, there are also like scientific literacy, cultural literacy, and global literacy. However, we are talking basically on the technology. So the role of teachers in teaching learning, I think I need not have to tell you about how the teachers should be, because today teachers are no longer just a information provider. They are more facilitators, more become mediator, collaborators, and they provoke, they allow students to an open thinking and encourage students to critically analyze the tasks they were given. So here teachers also shift their minds from the student social, try to change the student social and emotional behavior. All right, teachers transformations. These are some of the ways that you, if I just show the co-constructor, facilitator, coach, creator of the learning environment. So teachers has to be slightly different from what we really used to think before. And today, any individual that thrives in 21st century, in the era of globalization and digitalization, people must be equipped with problem solving, creative mindsets, and information literacy. They should be literate, information literate. This is 21st century classroom. Look at the things that you see. There is an interactive boards where you can touch, and then you can create pictures, diagrams. You can bring all the e-resources show here, and then you can teach using those interactive boards. They have a blackboards, and there are a lot of tablets, and also the computers, laptops. So the students in the 21st century, although they read and write, but still they use mostly the computers around, because they have a free access to internet. So now let me talk about when we say a subject ICT, sorry, not a subject, when you talk about the ICT tools, these tools can be used in any subject to teach any discipline. So I would like to highlight how these subject can be integrated in a particular subject, or the subject of your teaching specialization. The ICT can be integrated in any discipline, anytime, anywhere, anybody. Teachers need to master the content, master the pedagogy, and master the ICT tool. However, please understand, I'm not talking about computer. Teachers' attitude and mindset for change makes lot difference in the life of a student. So we need to understand, if you don't have a content, we fail. If you don't have understanding of the pedagogy, we fail. And if you don't understand what is the work of ICT tool, we fail. Therefore, as a teachers, we need to keep abreast with all these three. Let's understand why do we need an integrated in education is allow the education to be collaborative using by integration of ICT education. It allows collaboration, it allows networking, it allows sharing resources, it allows accessibility of the internet, it allows the greatness of the educations, understand the deeper meaning of the educations. It empowers the learners actually to understand. Empower meaning ICT gives the tools to actually to play with the informations and understand deeper. This is one of the model, TPAC model, which has got three circles, and you will see this is an Venn diagram, and you are going to see there is triple intersections in the middle. So here such areas indicates that technologically, pedagogically, content, knowledge. All these people who knows how to use ICT and who has got well understood the content and pedagogy would always be at this region. Meaning, anyone who wanted to teach a content must understand pedagogy. Without understanding content and pedagogy, ICT would not follow. So here these reasons is a technological knowledge, and these reason is content knowledge, and these reason is an pedagogical knowledge. So if you look at each intersect, this intersects gives a different kind of this intersects is between the content knowledge and then pedagogy. So here, without using a technology, still people can teach the chapters by using a different pedagogies. Pedagogy helps to deliver the content. Here, pedagogy and technology. So in this case, these pedagogy or the technology helps each other to teach the subject matters more easily. Likewise, there is a technology and content knowledge. So technology is always go along with the contents, and it helps to deliver well. But here, if you think it, these all three things go together, and therefore we have to aim for this. The best teachers always use technological knowledge and pedagogical knowledge to deliver content more effectively, and it helps or the ease the students learning. With this, I would like you to actually to go through this TPAC model and understand better. You are going to see these integrations of ICT into the subject matter. So when we talk about this ICT and then subject matter, we need to know pedagogical knowledge. How do you integrate technology to this? So it's very important that all three plays equal role in teaching learning. Right, I have these questions. Within these quiz questions, I have 3-4 slides. But however, just now I am using this empty share recorder, and I would not be able to play. But this slide would be placed in the VLE, and if you play these slides, you will be able to play this quiz, and your marks will be recorded. Please understand, your marks would be recorded. So everybody need to answer correctly. Whenever you are attempting, please try to answer correctly. With this, I'm happy that I'm able to cover the 21st century skill. Thank you for listening.